Yesterday was Trump's 100 days in office. 100 days of Donald Trump. Don't worry, we got 3 and 8 months left of him, I think, of being president of these United States. And I know there's a lot of talk about him running in 2028. I think that's just them talking. No one wants to listen. We don't need an imperial presidency, okay? You don't want to have the Chicago syndrome because we've had an imperial mayoralship over here with Old Man Daley and Daley Jr. And how did that turn out for Chicago? I mean, every time there was an election, especially when I was a kid, oh, Daley's going to win. Daley's going to win. One and done, it was over. But we have 100 days of Donald Trump, 100 days of President Trump speaking with the people, speaking. And he had an exclusive sit-down interview with ABC News. ABC News, owned by Disney. Hey, everybody, it's me, Mickey. So what exactly happened with this interesting conversation? So first of all, let's play a little video here. We got a couple of videos. Highlights of Trump, his 100 days, and ABC News. What could go wrong?
You have 100% confidence in
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
It's a pretty important
I
position.
have no. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny indeed. And of course, there's a lot of talk about Trump, his administration, what's happening exactly, and whether or not his policies are very popular with the people. So I want to definitely pull up this one right here where he starts doing his Coca-Cola classic line, calling ABC News one of the worst.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest.
I'd argue that CNN is one of the worst. That's in my opinion. In my opinion alone, that CNN is one of the worst. But it's funny to see ABC News and all these corporate media outlets kind of get roasted by Trump a little bit. No, I'm not a fan of Trump. But I will say whenever you see corporate media getting slapped around, but see, secretly, I think that they do like this, but it's not working the way they wanted it to. You see, corporate media, you done goofed when you kept on promoting and talking down to progressives and independents, especially during the 2020 election cycle, because, you do realize that the first term of Trump was like this big injection of viewers for all your channels. One can argue that from 2016 up until 2020, Trump made corporate media relevant because of people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. But see, Trump right now is in a little bit of a quandary. Trump's sagging poll numbers become a concern for the GOP. So President Donald Trump's sagging poll numbers as he hits his 100th day in office are becoming a concern for Republicans who have been steadfastly loyal to the White House, but are starting to look ahead to the midterm elections, which means you better believe it, you're going to have some dumb goof troops come out there talking about impeaching Trump. I know. Don't worry. Don't worry. I told you this was going to happen. I need all of you to pretend to be shocked. Shocked and surprised. So thank you. Thank you very much. See, it always feels good once we're proven correct. While the White House is not expressing concern about Trump's downfall trajectory in the polls, Republican operatives say he needs to stop with the turbulence on tariffs and focus on fulfilling the promises he made as a presidential candidate on the economy, which means forget talking about Greenland and Canada. All right. Canada had an election, which was a referendum on Trump. Now, whether or not the new Canadian government can actually turn around Trudeau and his BS policies is up in the air. I wish Canada all the best. But last I checked during the election cycle of 2024, there was no talk about Greenland or Canada becoming part of the greater United States. That's a dumb thing to talk about. It was a dumb thing to plan about. It's a dumb thing to even promote, even if it was a joke, because nobody's laughing. Continuing on, it's actually incredibly simple. Republican strategist Kevin Madden said, Trump won in 2024 because of a broader coalition of voters who were nostalgic for the pre-COVID economy of Trump's first term, and they believe Trump was better suited to address their concerns about inflation. His approval has dropped because the pursuit of restrictive trade policies and higher tariffs have initiated a new round of concern among voters. Trump still has a strong support from his most dedicated Republican voters, but the flight of moderates and independent voters, who tend to be nomadic, are currently diluting his political coverage. Madden added that Trump's drop in the polls is exactly the type of shift you worry about ahead of midterms. When you lose the big miracle of the electorate, the swing races move away from you, and the districts that usually have comfortable partisan margins can become surprise contests, he said. It's still early, but the trend lines from the tariff policy are so far not looking good. Hey, folks, how's those tariffs doing? Speaking of which, tariff the like button if you haven't done so already. But here's the thing. We got to address something about DOGE, DOGE. DOGE indeed. DOGE, DOGE, DOGE.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department at any of
Well, you
these.
don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been
How do you know
referrals to
that?
the, are there
Why?
criminal
How would you
referrals?
know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally, all right, there's
Okay.
been no investigation from the
How do
Justice
you know
Department.
that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not
Now
asking
I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have
Now I'm
been.
asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the
Of
work
course
of
there
the
have been. Take a look at some of these
All right,
things that
all
took
right,
place.
all right.
Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of
Okay.
course there have
I
been.
want to bring up a legal note.
Now let's go ahead and actually talk about this, because there's one other thing that has to be looked at, and that's the deal with Elon Musk and DOGE. So majority of Americans actually disapprove of Musk's Doge performance, because it does matter, especially when we're talking about Doge. The majority of Americans disapprove of Elon Musk's performance of his role within the U.S. government, according to a new poll conducted by ABC News. Now, to be clear, this was also done by the Washington Post, as well as a few other outlets. But DOGE is not an official government agency. And why is Elon Musk always showing up? Because he's a multi-billionaire who donated to Trump's campaign. And whether it's a Democrat or Republican, you do realize that the person who donated the most money is usually going to have the final say. So let's continue on. Of the respondents, 57% said they disapprove of Musk's job performance in the administration led by Donald Trump, while 35% said they approve of what has been done so far, ABC News reported on Monday. The outlet noted that the opposition to the administration's effort to shrink the federal government, spearheaded by DOGE, is a key driver of the negative ratings. In recent months, the White House, through DOGE, has implemented widespread federal spending cuts. Under the department, which was established by Trump shortly after taking office in January, roughly 280,000 federal employees have reportedly been laid off in an effort to balance the U.S. federal budget. Earlier this month, thousands of Americans took to the streets across the country to protest what they described as an illegal power grab and coup by Trump and Musk, claiming that the economic and social policies enacted by the president and his ally have plunged the country into full-blown crisis. And how do you respond to a crisis? How do you do that? Well, one thing that we've seen by our oh-so-fantastic politicians is, especially for the Democrats, the operatives, especially since you are so triggered by Trump, you have them talk about articles of impeachment. And instead, they don't address anything else at all. They don't talk about the economy. They don't talk about the wars. They're only talking about impeachment, 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 impeachment. If you want to lose the base already, go ahead. Keep at it. Keep at it. But that's not how you're going to change things, especially since Trump's 100 days have been called out. I want to pull this article, this video up here about Putin and Ukraine, because Democrats, this all happened under Joe Biden's watch. And this is something that's now been inherited by Trump. And instead of actually joining in and maybe trying to come up with a peace plan, or maybe address the failings of DOGE or these tariffs or everything else in between, you're focusing on impeachment. And don't worry, we're going to be talking about impeachment a little bit later in the show.
It does feel like something's happening after that meeting with Zelensky in St. Peter's. You posted this on social media. There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas and cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe...
Well, that was part of my post, but you're right. That was a part of a post.
And it says, it makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along.
Yeah, that's possible. Sure.
He might be...
He could be tapping me along a little bit. I would say that He would like to stop the war. I think that if it weren't for me, I think he'd want to take over the whole country personally. I always felt. So when I left, there wasn't even a chance that this would happen. When Biden got involved, I won't say whether or not he handled it properly, but obviously it wasn't good because the war started. Putin went in, the war started. I believe that Putin wanted to get all of Ukraine once he went in. And I think part of the reason he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan, how incompetently Milley and all these guys handled that. It was one of the greatest embarrassments of our lifetimes, but maybe in the history of our country. Okay. So Putin went in. I think Putin wanted all of Ukraine. Right. I think if I didn't win the election, he would have gotten all of Ukraine. I think he would have taken all of Ukraine. I think his first choice, never with me, he would have never gone in. With this group of losers, he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan. He said, wow, this is my chance. Because it was always the apple of his eye. I talked to him. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. I think he wanted the whole country.
You've said for months.
Because of me, I do believe that he's willing to stop.
See, here's the failing of the reporter. He keeps on interrupting. Let Trump talk.
The fighting. Don't forget.
You think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
And of course, the Coca-Cola classic line was, do you trust Putin? Shot the hotspot for getting this wonderful gem.
You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't.
Let's play that again.
You trust him. Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am
happy.
And
then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered.
One more time. Do you trust Putin?
Trust him. Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust.
Someone needs to get this reporter to kick his head in. Do you trust Putin? Who do you trust? Trump? Putin? Hey, no such thing as a wrong answer here. Just say, better yet, just type in none of the above.
You look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview. And then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know, I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
I am not. Do I trust? I don't trust a lot of people, but I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me. And I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine. Okay. It's a war.
He wants peace. You think Vladimir Putin?
Now, that's rather hilarious again. But also looking at this further, because again, this all has to deal with, again, polling numbers. Because Trump can make you laugh as much as you want. But Republicans attribute the falling numbers to the headlines around Trump's tariffs, which sent markets plunging and left Americans worried about their retirement accounts. Markets have recovered a portion of the losses, but remain below where they stood on Trump's first day in office. Remember, the main issue, the main thing that people were fighting for during the election cycle of 2024 was the economy. It was always the economy, stupid. I think that's what's concerning people. I think he knows this are the economics of an uncertainty around the tariff protocol. Susan Del Pico, a veteran Republican strategist who does not support Trump, said Trump arguably benefited from a bit of a Biden hangover at the start of the presidency. Voters fed up with the rising cost of grocery costs felt the country was headed in the wrong direction under former President Joe Biden, voted for change. But now they aren't seeing those price changes. Trump has a firm support of his base, which Del Pico said has gotten him through everything, and he hasn't signaled much worry about his polling or economic numbers. But Republicans are in a different political situation. I don't think Trump team cares about its numbers as much as the House and Senate Republicans care about it. In a Tuesday speech to mark his first 100 days in office, Trump touted that prices are coming way down. Gasoline prices are down by a lot. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates are down. Folks, hey, is the mortgage rate down? Is the mortgage rate down? for you. Type 1 for the yes, Kit. All the prices are coming down where I'm at in the neck of the woods. Everything's coming down to low, low price. It's out of my mind. Type 2, no, it's not. Now, I wonder how many 2s will show up in the chat. And speaking of Joe Biden, there's always this jab in. I had to get this one in here. I had to. It had to deal with Joe Biden's mental processes.
Biden did something to me, and I did something to Biden. And you know why I did it? Because he's grossly incompetent. That's not a man that should be allowed to, be looking at things that are very confidential.
But what about
Because he didn't?
71
Here's a
people you
man that
revoked
used
it.
an auto pen to sign very important documents. Now, who really is? Do you think he knew that they were using an auto pen? I mean, he used an auto pen to sign very, very important documents, and so those are really the questions you should be asking. What do you think of the auto pen? Who wielded the auto pen? Because whoever that person was, think of it. Whoever the person that wielded the auto pen, he was really the president of the United States. Because
You are
I
the
don't
president,
think
right.
I don't think that Biden knew anything about it. Biden did.
Now, there's a couple other things here too. All right. First of all, looking at the rest of the article here, the entire point of this is that Trump has been riding on the coattails of the failure of what Biden and in turn Kamala and their epic failures in regards to their local, domestic, and foreign policies. These 100 days of Donald Trump in office, while on the one hand can be viewed as entertaining, but also very concerning and have long-lasting impacts, such as, again, the war in Gaza that's taking place, where you still have men, women, and children dying. You have a war zone that's running out of control, such as, again, the political instability in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and, of course, maybe a potential conflict with Iran, because that's always going to be on the table. As this war in Gaza continues on, I've been seeing the campaign and entire theater of war involving other nations. When October 7th of 2023 took place, who knew that all of this would happen? Who knew that all of this would go down? Now, I want everyone to be clear on this. Yeah, a lot can happen in 100 days, but if this is setting the tone, I'm already prepared for the epic failure that's going to take place sometime in 2026, and that is the Democrats aren't going to be talking too much about they will be talking about the economy. They will be talking about the wars. They will be talking about failure. It was domestic and foreign policies. They will be talking about Trump and being so divisive and going after media and everything else. But you want to know what their solution will be? It will be impeachment. That's what they're going to be banking on. Impeachment. Trump's 100 days is going to be used as the fuel for the Democrats to run on that. And so when you go into 2026, if you choose to vote in that election cycle or not, it's up to you. Do whatever you want. Hard Lens Media will encourage you to feel and vote however which way you want. Just be prepared to see pamphlets, video posts, emails, TV ads, radio ads, if you listen to the radio, about Democrats running and wanting to impeach him. These 100 days. We've got a couple more years of this, folks. Try and drink water. Don't fall into depression. I don't think things are going to be turning around better anytime soon. If they do, it's a miracle. If there's a ceasefire deal in Ukraine, it's a miracle. But I don't see that playing out. I don't see it playing out at all because right now there's money to be made in war. There's money to be made in people's despair. And these politicians, no matter who sits in the White House or who controls the legislature, sorry about that, screwed on that one, the Senate and the House, they need to make the money. They've always had to do that. That's how these politicians operate all the time, every time.